Is Ruben Salstrom, and today I'm working on a project that my dad put me on. We have here a Behmor, or however you say this name. Behmor? Behmor? I don't know. Anyway, this brand of coffee roaster, and it has gotten a lot of beans run through it, probably close to 300 pounds in its life, and I've had to clean it before. And he said that it needed to be cleaned, and looking at the outside and stuff, it looks pretty clean. That's because my younger sister, Anna, spent some time already cleaning it out. So I have here the instructions for the entire machine, and it has a maintenance section right here. And unfortunately, on my way out here, I dropped it straight in the mud, which is the only 2 pages that we really needed to look at. But here it talks about what you're supposed to do, and it says to use simple green. You just spray the inside of the unit and let it sit for a few minutes, and then you wipe it all down after you've run a burn cycle, a dry burn cycle. So anyway, I suggest getting these instructions or looking at your owner's manual, and you can read through it. So it says that you're also supposed to clean it after every 5 roasts. Ha ha ha, definitely didn't do that. They also talked about this corner right here, because apparently right back in this corner, there is a sensor that, let me turn on the light, there we go. Apparently there's a sensor back there, and if that's all gummed up and oiled up, it sometimes isn't reading temperatures right, and it won't roast your coffee as well as it's able to. So they said keep this spot clean, especially, and avoid getting any cleaning stuff on these elements. So yeah, I'm going to wipe this down a little bit more, but the inside's pretty much done. Then we're going to move on to the more complicated side of things. So they recommend that you clean the electronic area chamber back inside here. So we're going to remove this panel. It says there's 7 Phillips head screws, and we're going to blow it out then with an air hose, because it suggests using air to blow it out and just kind of clean everything. So we're going to get right to it. And I guess I won't bother you with taking that cover off. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I've taken off the screws and we're ready to pull off this cover. And I haven't opened it up yet, but I think that you just push from the back because there's some teeth in there. And now we can see straight into the electronics compartment. Obviously, this is not plugged in, so I'm not going to get electrocuted. Let's turn on this light here. Then we can kind of see what sort of buildup we have. So there's a little DC motor right here. Notice the impellers on it are just covered in this white chaff stuff. There's more of it up here. It's really odd because it's like dust, but at the same time it just disappears when you rub it. That just disappears. Show you again. I think it's because it's actually oils. It looks like fuzz, and then you rub it and it basically just goes into your skin. So yeah, this fan, dirty. The whole board, dirty. Stuff up here, just dirty. And the best way to clean that off is to just use an air hose. So I'm going to get that and we'll blow it out. Alright, so I got the air hose hooked up. Let's see how this works. Pretty dusty. Wow, that looks a lot better already just after a couple minutes. And obviously you have to be careful not to spin these up to an extremely high RPM because it could break them potentially since they're so little. This one kind of spun pretty fast. But wow, that looks a lot better. I'm going to blow this out a little bit more and then I'll check back with you. So we're back to the instructions here, and it says right here on this step, while performing the above We also recommend removing the exhaust channel cover and cleaning any lint, dust, or stray chaff from the back of the cover and exhaust channels. This maintenance will ensure air is allowed to flow freely and not clog exhaust holes. And it said figure D, which is right here. So they're talking about this piece on the unit, and I see it just has, looks like 5 screws. So we'll pop that off of there, and last time I cleaned this, there was a lot of junk in there. So we're going to open that up. Alright, so we're on the last screw on here. Oh, yeah, it fell out. Oh look, found the screw right away. You know how rare that is? When you drop a screw, you almost can never find it, but that was amazing. Okay, so here we are, and you can see that there is a lot of buildup. It looks just like it's kind of just brown, but this is actually like a thick coat. It's like 1/8 of an inch thick of just this weird powdery stuff. Like I was explaining earlier, it's almost like oil from the coffee beans. And the most funny part is, this looks perfectly clean from the outside because you can't really see inside of it. But once you see in there, it's just filthy. And same going into here. You can see there's just a lot of that buildup. So I think I might actually scrape some of this out instead of just blowing it all into the air. And then I'll blow it off some more, and I'll shoot some air down through this way to that, just through the chute, clean that out a little bit. And it looks like it keeps going back in there. Here, let's get a light on it. Oh yeah, there's another fan there. So that must be the main exhaust fan pushing the air out. And back in there, it gets pretty dirty too. Last time I took this apart, I also cleaned that, but that's not actually a step that's required. It was just something that I thought needed to happen. And as long as that, I think it's hot enough and spins enough back there that this like unburnt oil stuff doesn't really accumulate. So we should be all right to leave that as is. But anyway, I'll scrape this off, and then I'll blow it a little bit, and we'll see what it looks like. So I have here a pail of hot water, and I have my Simple Green. So I'm just going to spray this a little bit. And then we're just going to put it into the hot water and see how pugnacious this stuff wants to be. Oh my. Look at that. That is cleaning off really nicely. So apparently this is going to be a cakewalk. Or should I say a cup of coffee. So go ahead and clean that. Wow, that is beautiful. That cleaned off way easier than I expected. Simple Green does wonders. I'm not exactly sure why the company is so adamant that you use Simple Green. They seem very sure that that is the absolute best thing to use. So that's what we're going to use here. Apparently it's a pretty like organic cleaning stuff. So maybe since it's going into something that's cooking things that you're going to be consuming, they wanted it to be cleaner. I'm not sure exactly, but wow, that worked well. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe off that other piece, and should be good. So I actually decided to go ahead and just pull this off because it was so easy to clean in that hot water. And I was just trying to think about how all this dust can accumulate out here and not so much deep inside there. And then got me thinking, probably what's happening is there's oils on those beans that are evaporating off, and as soon as they get out into this exhaust channel where it's a lot cooler, they're just condensating. Obviously it's not water, but they're condensing onto or settling onto the exhaust plate. So that's probably why we're seeing so much more of this stuff out here and not deep inside that channel. Again, we'll just spritz this with some Simple Green and let it sit a few minutes and then wipe it off. While I'm waiting for that, I'm just using this slightly damp cloth to wipe out this piece. You see way back in there, it's just black, and then out here it's got that sediment junk on it. We'll go see how this is doing. Oh yeah, little scrubbing, that'll be beautiful. I just blew the air hose a little bit through back into there, and quite a bit of black junk came out, so that might not be a bad idea too. Again, just keep in mind that you don't want to spin those fans up to really high RPMs. And then I blew in here, and there's a flap down here and a flap up in here, and I just blew into those a little bit, and quite a bit more dust came out too. So anyway, it's looking nice. I just about got it ready to throw back together. It looks pretty clean up in there after that air. It does an amazing job. Alright, so I finished doing all of the cleaning that I wanted to do inside of the electronic components cavity. You can see the fan blades are all freed up. There's no more of that junk on there. They're looking good, and it's looking good in here. Got all this cleaned up and opened up, which is good because there were actually some chunks like hanging over and obstructing that. Oh look, it's me. So this is clean enough that you can use it as a mirror, which is pretty nice. And then obviously at this point you're just gonna stick things back together how they were, how you took them apart. So that's pretty straightforward. And that should be about it for cleaning the Behmor coffee roaster. Or for some people it's not a coffee roaster. Some people roast what are they called? Cocoa beans? Yeah, cocoa beans. Some people roast cocoa beans in them apparently. So, anyway, yeah, it's looking nice. I'll throw it back together and then that should be good. Also, look how dirty that water got. It's disgusting. Something else to take note of that I didn't notice earlier is there's these little tabs on the bottom of this piece, and you need to put them inside of those holes and then push it up. Because I didn't notice that when I was taking it off. Then stick in your screws and it should be good. Another thing right here to take note of is these tabs. That's why we had to pull this whole thing this direction in order to get it off, and to get it back on. These tabs need to go inside of these two collars that they put on there. So you'll just lift it up, line up those two collars, just like so. You can't really see what I'm doing, but you get the picture. Yeah, just like that. So now they're slid on, so it kind of holds it on part way, and then you tuck it around the back and get a screw in it. Alrighty, I've finished putting on the pieces that were taken off and cleaned, and it is looking pretty nice. So I might do a little bit more scrubbing back in here, but I think it is pretty clean for the most part. So I hope that you found this to be useful. Have fun scrubbing your coffee roaster, because I know I'm going to be doing this again. So I'm going to pretend like it's a really fun thing to do. Anyway, I will talk to you later.